Welcome to my Facebook live questions and answers with Elite Circle member Tanya Lloyd, who's a personal branding photographer. And we've got the pleasure over the course of the next hour to be asking Tanya plenty of questions about personal branding photography. My name's Craig Wilkinson. I'm the founder of the Elite Business Academy. I'm a business coach and motivational speaker, and I'm going to be your host for this evening's Facebook Live. I can see that people are already starting to comment. So good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me and Tanya. What I am going to say just before we get started on this live is you will see me looking down to my left and my right. This is because I'm going to be looking at the comments that are coming in. And I'm also going to be looking at my phone so I can keep up to real time to make sure that we're getting through everybody's questions. So the first thing I want you to do is, if you do have a question for Tanya, please can you pop your question in the comments section below. And what we'll do is we'll do our utmost throughout the course of this hour to answer all your questions. What I will be asking Tanya to do is, if we don't get round to answering everybody's question, I'll be asking Tanya to respond back to these after the live has finished. So please leave your please leave your questions in the comment section below. What I'd like to do first is make sure that all our audio and all our sound is working crystal clear. So what I'd like somebody to do is just type into the comments loud and clear if you can hear me okay. So if somebody can type in loud and clear, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this up right now, live watching you, just to make sure that you can all see me live. So if somebody can type in loud and clear, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So I can see there's 19 comments in already. Sound is, but good evening, Bev. Steve Elvis. Steve, had a great conversation with Steve. Thank you for joining us this evening, Steve, all the way from the Midlands. Dean Marsden's joined us. Dino's in the house. Justin Widdock's in the house as well. Chris Mortimer is also there. So thank you, loud and clear, Steve Elvis says. So thanks for that. Right. Okay, let's get into this. The first thing I want you to do is, if you feel as though somebody will get benefit from listening to Tanya and her expertise on personal branding photography, can you please tag that person into the comment section so they get notified of this Facebook Live? Okay, so that's enough introductions. We've got a number of people that are on now. 23 people have joined us so far. So if you can please also share this Facebook Live. If you can click the share button, share it onto your own personal Facebook pages, that'd be great. The more people that we can get involved, the better. But thank you for joining us. So let me introduce you to our guest this evening. We've got Tanya Lloyd. Tanya is an Elite Circle member, and the reason why I'm interviewing Tanya this evening is because we ran a competition back in January to see who could get more people involved in our Facebook group. I said one of the prizes would be a Facebook Live with myself, and Tanya went and won the prize. So fantastic. Well done, Tanya. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're doing this Facebook Live so Tanya can claim her prize, but also to share her valuable knowledge. So I'm now going to bring Tanya in. So good evening, Tanya.
Good evening. Good evening, Craig, and good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. A little bit nervous, but I'm, it's exciting to be here.
Fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for putting all that time and effort into that competition as well.
You're welcome. Yes, it was a bit crazy, the amount of people that were entered into that competition. I couldn't believe it when you told me.
And thoroughly well deserved. So Tanya, everybody's here to listen to you talking about personal branding photography and the importance of it. But just before we get into it, can you just take around a minute just to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what you do? I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, so hello everyone. My name's Tanya, as you know, and I am a personal branding photographer. I've been a commercial photographer and I am niching into personal branding photography. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love being a photographer. I love people, and I am based in Glossop, which is about an hour away from Sheffield, for those of you that don't know where Glossop is. I live here with my boyfriend and my little dog, Coco. And and I've been an Elite Circle member for 6 months, and it's made a massive impact on my business and on myself. So I'm really chuffed to be here.
Brilliant. Okay. Right then, Tanya, let's get stuck straight into it. So what is, for those people that don't know, just explain to us, what is personal branding photography? Because it's not a common phrase used, I presume, again, amongst photographers. So just share with us what you mean by personal branding photographer.
Yeah, so I want to start by kind of explaining the history of it a little bit. So personal branding photography is a term which is massive in the US, and it's starting to become more known here. As I'm sure you're all aware, being business owners, the importance of brand is so massive, and so in order to market ourselves, it's really important to get imagery which reflects who we are and what our brand is about. So in a way, in a nutshell, personal branding photography is a set of images which basically represents you and your business. But of course, we know that people buy from people. So it's not about your logo. It's not about your company anymore, even though it used to be so important, all of that and the professionalism, but it's kind of changed quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention that, you think that it's changed, because one of the things that I've been sharing with all my inner circles over the last 2 weeks is how I believe nowadays, certainly with the power of things like social media and how easy it is for people to connect with things like networking events that we all attend at the EBA. I think more than ever now, the personal branding side for a business owner is more important than their actual company brand. So people don't buy anymore from company names and company logos. People are buying from the business owner that they're building up that relationship with, whether that be on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or even at networking events. So I think it's had a massive shift, and I've been drilling this into our members of the inner circle over the last couple of weeks. So what's your take on that?
Well, so from my own experience, so I've been a big networker for probably almost 10 years now, in various networks. And I'm sure all of us have been members of other networking groups, whether it's 4N, BNI, maybe women's networking groups, but there's something about that know, like, trust. It's kind of cliche, isn't it? But it's so true. And maybe for people that don't go networking and aren't businesses, they don't necessarily, I can't really speak for them, but my guess is people still buy from people, whoever you choose to give your money to, whatever it is. So, it's just so important to like the people that you spend with and you want to have around you, I think.
Yeah. And again, I think that because everybody's in the public domain now, whether they like it or not, because of social media and how easy it is to access people, I think that for me personally, I spend a lot of time and effort on my own branding to make sure that I look the business and I come across as the business. But many people, I'm guessing, would look at this personal branding and think, well, why do I need professional photography? Why do I need this? Why do I need that? So who is it actually for? Is it for everybody?
Well, I think classically it's for business owners, definitely, and entrepreneurs. We're all in, I'm in a particular industry. We're all in different industries. And I think it's very easy to sort of go down a route where we try and do it quite quickly, or or don't maybe spend too much money on it, which are totally, there's valid, and it's very valid that, but I think if you're going to set yourself apart from the crowd, I think it's important to spend a huge amount of time and energy on looking at how you look. So in some ways it's very much, it's kind of for everyone, so as a photographer over the years, what's interesting, even though this personal branding photography is quite a new term, when I look back, I can see that I've actually done it for many years with various industries. So I've worked in, charities or social enterprises or public service. You only need to look at certain massive organizations like the Scouts or Wilco or whatever, and they'll all be, their brand, their staff is kind of, they're in tune with the values of that company, I think.
Yeah.
So whether you're a sole trader or you're like a massive white chip, blue chip company, I think it's for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I believe it doesn't matter what industry or sector you belong to. If we want to look the best, if we want to stand out from our competitors, then we need quality imagery to be able to do that. So where do people start, Tanya? Because I'm guessing for most people, they've never done this before. They've never had a photographer take the photos for the personal branding. So how do they get started?
Well, things that I think are really good things to start to think about, even before you speak to a photographer, it's do you know what your brand is about? Do you know what your core values are? And I'm in the process myself of actually getting business development support with a very what's not necessarily well known, but a very successful photographer. And I'm actually going through my own branding right now, so it's kind of really interesting. And something that I have done, which has really worked for me, is I've sat down with pen and paper and basically brainstormed all of the reasons why I love doing what I do. Why did I get started? And so, all I can tell you is what I'm doing and what I think works for me. And I think that's quite important for everyone to know, what is it? Why do you love doing what you do? It might be that there are key words like, you like for me, I like supporting and empowering people. That's one of the things that I like to do. But it might, it might be, depending on your industry, it might be something that looks quite different. So I think having the idea of what your brand is to start with, so that before you even speak to a photographer or before you even take any photographs, it'll be, it's good to see where you're at. So, in terms of where to start, I always start with you. So as an absolute basic, I think it's really important that you have nice portraits or a headshot of you, just so that your social media and your website has got a nice image of you, not you in the pub with a pint of beer or on a host, on holiday next to the swimming pool, or,
Well, this leads me on to, I suppose, our first question, and that's been put forward by Harry Purewell. And what Harry's asked is, how do you help clients decide what shots to have done to reflect their brand if they've got no idea on where to start? And that's a great question, Harry.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question, Harry, because it is, where do you start with these things? And I think it does depend on what industry you're in. So all I can tell you is my own experience of what I do before I before I take any photographs of anyone. I want to find out, who are you? What do you do? What service do you provide? You might have staff as well. So it's looking at the different elements that make up who you are, what you do. So photograph you. If you have staff, photograph staff. And also, there is a reality of, whether you're paying for photography or not, there might be a budget thing. I don't know. You might want to do it yourself. That's totally possible to do that. or you might want to get a professional in. So it's kind of up to you, really. So, you know, it's definitely looking at, so let's take Harry, for example, if we can use Harry as an example, given that she's asked that question. So obviously, you know, Harry is her brand. I mean, my gosh, given what she does as well with, you know, how she's image consultant, she's all about brand. She understands the walking brand. So obviously getting a number of images of Harry in her, you know, in her house, in her beautiful room that she does all of her all of her color consultancy in, or it could be that she is more in a corporate environment, you know, so she'll have different types of target audiences that she'll be trying to target, let's say. So it might be that she wants to kind of have a load of images that show her in a corporate way, but she also might want to have some images that are very much a little bit more down to earth and at home. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I also think, you know, just to add to that, I think you've got to get people's personalities out as well, because I think in today's day and age, there is too much bullshit out there and too many people trying to pretend to be people that they're actually not. And one of the things that what I hopefully come across is authentic and real. And I think a lot of that personality has to be brought out in your brand, because when you're attending networking events, people get to know you, the real you. When they're following you on social media and building and engaging in conversation with you, they get to know the real you. So if you've got, in my opinion, if you've got images that are a million miles away from your own personality, there's a disconnect with the branding.
Yes.
So is it important that we get that personality across as well?
Well, absolutely. You know, your personality is why people buy from you in the first place. It's why they'll like you. So it's, you know, it's really interesting because obviously I photograph a lot of people in the studio on a white background, which, you know, is quite a plain. But there's something that I really love about that environment, because the character comes through. So all you're getting is the person, which is, you know, if you're trying to get across your personality, then that's kind of the first thing that people see. So, you know, I think, you know, what you wear, as Harry will know, you know, what you wear is really important as well, you know, your personality. So, you know, if you've got a tradesperson who, you know, is you know, got like branded t-shirt or something like that, that's going to look really natural and normal. Whereas if you're a tradesperson in a suit, it's just going to look weird. You know, it's like you're trying too hard. I think if anyone looks like they're trying too hard, it's just not right, you know.
In fact, this is interesting because one of my inner circle members, Matt Hughes, he's put, how should I brand myself as a tradesman? So he's a tradesman. How would you, you know, I know it comes down to personality, but how would you brand a tradesman? I mean, there'll be lots of people watching this now. So how would you get that across? Because you know what drives me nuts, right? Being a tradesperson myself, so I can speak for this. When I see tradespeople stood next to the van, and they've got their arms crossed, stood next to the van, and the van's sign written as though the van's some kind of icon. And then they use that flipping photograph on the Facebook profile or on the Twitter profile. And I'm like, why have you got your van background? You're just trying to get that mobile number on your photograph. So how would you brand a tradesman? Great question, Matt. Yeah.
So I photographed loads of different tradespeople and architects and builders and stuff like that over my sort of my career. And, you know, I like getting pictures of them on the job, you know, in action. You know, it might be that I get pictures of them, you know, chatting with their clients, kind of quite up and close, kind of personal, me, like fly on the wall stuff. But it's not like, oh, look at the tip that is it. You know, it's making sure we choose, you know, pretty much, you know, buildings that are complete, you know, so they, you know, it doesn't look like a shit tip. you know, like there's like, you know, bricks and stuff. Remember that picture that you posted, you put on a couple of events ago, you were talking about branding, and it kind of made me laugh, of, you know, a house that was half built, you know, whereas, you know, as you know, it's, you know, you've posted sort of really beautiful pictures of complete buildings. So, you know, in my time, I think, you know, I mean, in terms of branding or what to, like for a tradesman, what to wear, I think, you know, it's quite nice for if you have got brand t-shirts, you know, like really nice, really big branding at the back, you know, across your shoulder, bit of branding on the side. It's quite nice. Make sure you look really clean as well. You're not splats of paint all over you, you know.
What are the things, Tanya, that I believe most people get wrong? And these are just the basics, you know, and I'm not going to mention names, but I even pulled a couple of my inner circle members on their branding across social media. Now, I'm a firm believer in, you know, you've got to be as professional as you can be. And I use this analogy, you know, I've seen people that are business owners that are on somebody's stag do, sat on the back of an Harley Davidson with a bottle of Jack Daniels dressed as Emu on the mate's stag do. And then they've got that image on their Facebook profile as an example, thinking, well, my Facebook profile's not business. But nowadays it is, because a quick Google search pulls up all your Facebook or your LinkedIn profiles. So people are naturally going to find you. So what would you say to somebody that's not got a professional headshot for the basics, which is just social media?
Well, so you know, I totally agree with what you're saying. So is another example, over the years that I've been a photographer, I've got lots of friends, you know, I'm not perfect. I go out and I have a few too many drinks, and there's always someone around me that photographs all of us having a great time. And, you know, and they tag me, and I never, ever, ever let any of those pictures ever go on Facebook.
No,
because it's just not professional. But then I don't want my personal page to be a total selling machine. You know, I want it to reflect me as, you know, as Tanya Lloyd, human being, not just Tanya Lloyd, photographer.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's ways of photographing people and having nice portraits of people where it's nice and really relaxed, you know, not studio stuff. You know, I think it's really nice to have pictures of people who build things, or, you know, tradesmen, you know, stood, you know, outside, not obviously in a park, because that would be a bit weird. You know, why would they be stood in a park? You know, but, you know, maybe in front of houses, or, you know, just on a street, on a normal street, you know, like a beautiful town, you know, cul-de-sac, or what seems relevant, you know.
Yeah.
And also, like, for example, I was just thinking about another one. So I in my time, I've photographed a lot of manufacturing and industry kind of people. So, you know, photographing them, you know, within a massive warehouse, or in front of the massive warehouse. You know, it's not necessarily about the brand being in the background. It's more about, oh, right, gosh, they look like they're, you know. So does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've got another question from Howard Rushforth.
Yeah.
And Howard's put, when a business owner has invested into cool photo shots by an experienced photographer like you, Tanya, how else can they use the images on other areas of their branding? I think I know where Howard's going with this. Can I just explain?
Yes.
Can I just explain?
Yeah,
right. So I've had professional photography done over years. And even though I've got a certain background behind me, I really like the pose or how I'm smiling or whatever. Now, I know that graphic designers can actually cut you out of that image. So they can use Photoshop, and they can cut the image of you out of that background. And that image of you then can be used in different places. I think this is where Howard's going. So where can it be used? if you could cut yourself a great image of yourself, cut out of a background that you don't want to be on, where else can we drop you?
Well, you can have all amazing variety of different backgrounds. So I know Howard's got a particular skill in creating amazing backgrounds. So we've not sort of actually properly collaborated as such, but I know some of my images have been used, like you say, to kind of cut out and then put on this background which gives a level of kind of stature or kind of loyalty or heritage within maybe like the city that they live or come from. There's something that I wanted to show you because I really like this idea as well, which is very plain, but quite a few of people that I've photographed have used their image on their business card, which I think is quite a good idea because if you do a lot of networking, I do a lot of over the years I've done loads of networking, and especially if you are a particular industry, I don't know, people might not, if you're a man in a grey suit, then you do lots of networking with lots of men in grey suits, then it's quite nice to stand out and have your image, so people remember you. And again, it shows personality. So like, Faye, she's got quite a few sort of different images. And obviously I know that she's also got like a massive slideshow website of different images of her. Again, shouting loudly about, well, it's all about her because it is. People buy her,
Yeah. So I know that people can invest into professional photographers such as yourself, Tanya, but let's not forget that people have got these with decent cameras on nowadays. So what, for a business owner who might want to start getting their own photography, as an example, before investing into a professional, what equipment would they need to buy? If they want to start doing it themselves, what equipment would you suggest that they get?
Yeah, well, I think the best way to start is just to be really simple about things.
Yep.
And to just start with your phone, actually.
Yeah.
And you might want to maybe get a selfie stick. There's a particular selfie stick that Andy Green might be able to post in the comments. I think he sort of said it was called a gimbal, but I'm not totally sure. But it was just amazing, like a kind of like almost a gyroscope type way that it was able to just settle itself in a very, So, there's something about being able to, take nice pictures of yourself. And so there are two, classic things with selfies. Always photograph yourself with the phone just slightly above you, or, if you want to look particularly slimmer, even higher up like that.
Yeah.
And also obviously light. Photography is all about painting of light. It's all about light. So if you don't, if you're in a dark room, that's just not going to work. Obviously some rooms have also got awful fluorescent lighting. So really what you want to be going for is natural light. Natural light from a window, but you don't want the sunlight on you because that's going to be too harsh with the sunlight and then shadow. So you kind of want to go to the area of the building where you're getting light, but it's not direct sunlight, if that helps. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay.
That's obviously just pictures of yourself, but there's more to say around getting other pictures.
Yeah. And are there any apps that, so like I've got an iPhone X, and I know that on mine there's like a portrait mode now where you can actually blur out the background. So you take a photograph of yourself, but it blurs out the background a little bit like, the professional ones. Do you know of any types of apps out there? Because I'm told, I've not got any, but I'm told there are apps that you can download for free that have got all these different, what's the word I'm looking for? functions on.
Functions, yeah.
Functions and facilities where you can alter the background or cut yourself out or change your colour, lighten it up, brighten it up. Do you know of any?
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I know that there's the basic one that iPhone has, which even that just even in your, in the Photos app, just lightens it up. I guess because I'm a professional photographer, I use my professional camera.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So by all means, anyone who knows of any free apps, please again post in the comments, because to be honest, I don't use them because I'm using Photoshop and my kit, if you know what I mean. And then on the occasion when I'm using anything where I've taken a picture on my phone, then I just brighten it up on my Apple thing. So sorry, I can't answer that question.
That's okay.
I should probably know, but it's kind of one of those, isn't it?
No, that's fine. So we've talked about sort of like personal branding, as in like headshots and making sure that you're authentic and you get your personality out and things like that. That's great for headshots. But what other type of images or photos should we be having taken of our businesses? And I know every business is different. I get that. But are there any sort of like standout type of photographs that every business must have other than the headshot for the business owner?
Not necessarily. I think in a way it's about telling a story. So images are ways of telling your story, really. So sometimes the way that I look at it is, okay, so what do you actually do during the day? What does your day look like? So it might be that you fix things or you build things.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to welcome people into your day to day. Like a day in the life of Craig Wilkinson is going to look very different to the day in the life of me, or a day in the life of Harry, or a day in the life of Bev. So what I really like doing, which I think it seems to be going down quite well, is I like to capture people with their clients, or so I photograph quite a lot of business owners who have basically been sat in front of me, or they've been in like a cafe or somewhere really nice, and they're actually with a client in front of me, which actually isn't their client. It will just be pretend client. And this person is just out of focus, just here on the side. And then the focus is, say, Jade. Like there's a picture, I did some pictures of Jade, where she's talking, she's looking directly to this person.
Yeah.
And it's just really nice to see people engaged rather than the sort of just directly at the photograph and it's a portrait, but actually they're more in action.
Yeah.
So in a way, in terms of what type of different pictures to think about, it's to look at what you do and to create a storyline of images of what you do, and it will be different for every business. Yeah.
I've got another question that's coming on live from Julie England. And I'm going to, and Sam Stone, hang around because I'm going to ask you a question after. So Julie's put that I struggle to get good after pics of my work that I've fitted. Is it worth investing into a certain camera stroke lighting to be able to do this?
So what work I have fitted? Do we know a bit more about what that is?
Let me just double check. I think with Julie, it will be sort of like curtains, blinds, I believe. So
yes,
that type of work. I suppose like interior design work.
Oh right, okay. Well, so there's a couple of things. So sometimes there's an issue with actually how to take the pictures, but then sometimes there's also an issue of how can I get back into that building or into that house. So some people are a little bit nervous maybe about asking their clients, you know, would you mind if I came back to your home to get some really good pictures? And I guess, you know, I don't know, obviously, Julie, and how well, you know, she knows how to use a camera. So, you know, I'm totally up for, you know, giving people tips of how to use a camera, you know, and it might be going forward that, you know, from time to time, I do teach people actually how to use cameras, you know, over an afternoon. It may be I create a workshop or something like that for a bunch of people that are really interested in that, but not necessarily to say that to kind of sell that on here. But I guess because I don't know what she's specific, you know, she's talking about lighting, and
I think what that'll be is I'm guessing for Julie, with it being sort of like curtains, sort of like bespoke curtains, a lot of the images I'm guessing that she's taking are internal. And I know even on a smart, I mean, I've got a DSLR camera as well. So even by altering the ISO and things like that on it, sometimes it can be a bit dark.
Yes.
So because of the lighting, I mean.
Yes. When the main thing, I mean, this is when, you know, oh gosh, tripods. Sorry, it's when tripods come in really handy, because obviously you can then put it on a tripod and you can, you know, have a long exposure. So often, not generally architectural photography or, you know, photography of the inside of buildings are generally taken on a tripod with a long exposure, so that it all, you know, if it's quite dark, you can open it up with, you know, you can open up your ISO. I mean, I don't want to get into all the technicalities because I don't want to bore people, but I could totally up for having a conversation with Julie, you know, about how best she can, you know, if she's willing to invest in a camera, you know, how best she can take those pictures. I'm totally up for supporting anyone with that, if that's abuse. Yeah.
I mean, what I would say, Julie, is what I've got in my office. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to completely disrupt all my setup here now. Just bear with me a sec. Let me show you this. Right. Let me see if I can do this. Right. Hang on. This. Right. So if you have a look at this, right, I've got this little ring light. Okay. I don't know how clear that is. Let me just see if I can show you a bit. Right. So I've got this ring light here, and that ring light is sat over the top of me now. I'm going to pop it back. That ring light is sat over the top of me now, casting some nice light onto me because I'm just in a small room in our house. Now, what I would say, Julie, is those ring lights, you can get them that are this big. And I've got a couple of them that I use for my videos. So if it's lighting that you're thinking of, you know, a big ring light, like I've just showed you the miniature version there, but a big one sat on a tripod on a stand, that's portable. You can take that anywhere with you to any job, and that would light everything up. Yeah. So maybe look at investing in something like a ring light just to start off with to brighten up, and that I suppose that goes for anybody that's taking photographs internally.
Well, I think if we're getting into the whole the proper professional lighting thing, I think if you're trying to light a room, then that ring flash probably won't be enough. So again, if anyone wants to have a conversation with me about what lighting to get, I mean, there are two different types of lighting. There's ambient light, which is what videographers use. So Andy Green will know all about, you know, you could just put it on a stand. It shines light. It doesn't flash. That's what it does. And then there's also flashlight as well, you know. So, you know, we could get into quite a lot of, you know, technical complication here, which I don't want to, again, I don't want it to be too much. But, and again, it depends. People might not necessarily want to spend, I mean, my lighting kit was like, I don't know, 900 quid. And that was 10 years ago. You know, and that's just two lights. So, you know, it depends on, again, what people want to spend. But you're right, you know, might be able to find like, you know, two lights on two stands so that you've got, like, one light won't be enough. It needs to have like a balance of two generally.
Yeah. I mean, just a couple of comments that have come in here, Tanya.
Yes.
So Chris Mortimer's put, I'd love to know how to use my DSLR camera better. So a workshop would be great. Another comment, a workshop would be great for us all. We bought a camera, but we don't know how to use it. So, maybe that might be an idea, putting on a workshop for people to come, and whether that's bring their own cameras in or have a look at yours and have a look at your setup and see how you do it.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be really up for that. I mean, how I've done it in the past is it's been quite kind of what's the word? Kind of a personal bespoke, not bespoke. I don't know. That's kind of a bit of a weird word to use, but sometimes people don't realize how much they know, and so sometimes it's like I think it'd be good to have like a maximum of a certain amount of people, because everyone might be different levels and know different stuff. But totally up for that. That'd be good fun.
Brilliant. Another question, Tanya, from Sam Stone. As an electrician, what's the best way of taking photos of my work for social media? And should I be thinking about getting my brand into the photo?
So, well, the first thing to say is, if you're ever taking photographs for social media, always photograph in landscape, which is the same thing as video in a way. You see videos like the portrait, and they just look weird because they have the sort of the edges. So always photograph in landscape.
I'm always shouting at Emily for that. Honestly, she takes photos and videos that way, and it drives me nuts. You have to take them landscape.
Yes.
You have to take them landscape.
Yes. So he was asking about branding as well, wasn't he? So
Sam,
so I guess when you say branding, then I guess you're talking about the logo being in the shot, I imagine.
I presume so, but maybe like a watermark logo dropped in on his images.
Well, maybe. I mean, you can do it both ways. So, if you've got a really nice branded, polo shirt or something like that, then get someone else obviously to photograph you kind of in action in somewhere that looks quite light. Yeah. And, just make sure, so if the brand's here, then you shoot from this direction. If the brand's here, you shoot from this direction. Sometimes when I photograph various engineers, I photograph them from the back because the branding is across the back. But I make sure I just get a little bit of the face. It's nice to see the face. So, if he can take along a friend, or he's got another member of staff to capture him, or he captures the other member of staff, then it's, you can't like do selfies of yourself, with your,
with
your finger.
I do.
Well, not in action.
No, not in action. No. Another question. So Dawn Brown, who's just, congratulations, Dawn, as well. We've just accepted Dawn into our inner circle. Dawn owns a daycare centre for dogs. She looks after dogs, but I don't just mean one or two. She's got kennels. She's got the whole shebang. It's massive. So she wants to take photographs of her clients' dogs. But she also wants to, I presume, watermark them so that people can't pinch her images, so other competitors can't pinch her images, which I know is a big deal. We had somebody on our inner circle last week saying, in fact, tell you it were Louis from Glasgow. One of his competitors have been pinching his images. So what tools or how can you watermark with your branded logo onto your images? How do you do it?
Well, so I mean, I always generally put my logo. It's like a PNG file. So if you have your, if the people that did your logo can send you a PNG of it, and you should be able to, even if you're using Canva, which is free. Yeah. Excuse me. You can bring in, you can say create a banner. A banner shot or an Instagram image. You pull in your image into it, and then you overlay your logo on the top. So that's that's always worth doing. I mean, I always put it in a corner which is not intrusive into the image. Don't put it over someone's face. Just be sort of respectful about the image. But it depends on what you're doing with the images, really. So that's I mean, in the past, I have done that, and actually still I've had certain people who I've done, say, a free job for, who have then cut that brand, that watermark out.
Yeah.
But then I just think, well, it's okay. I'm just, I need to be relaxed about these things, really. And there's also some final thing, which I can't remember the exact detail of. It's been a while since I've done it, but there's something in Facebook where you can create a title of it. You can click on a title, and you can put your name, like copyright Tanya Lloyd or copyright blah.
Yeah. I tell you what, can I share a really cheeky way on how I do it?
Yeah.
I shared this again. I keep going about in a circle, but I shared it with them last week. Listen, if you want to watermark your images, right, this is the best way. I used to use canva.com. Okay, so canva.com, you can do it. You upload your image, you upload your PNG file. So if you're going to be watermarking, if you're going to be dropping your logo on to your images, like Tanya said, it needs to be a PNG file. So speak to your graphic designers. Now, Canva, you upload your image, you upload your logo, you drag and drop the logo onto the image. But what I've always found with Canva, and I've used it for years, is when you download the image out of Canva, it never seems to be like an high-res quality. For me, we're always a little bit blurry. So what I do, check this out. Get ready, Tanya. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
If you've got PowerPoint, or should I say get PowerPoint, right? Don't be scared. For those people who've never used it, it's not complicated. Open up PowerPoint and create a blank slide. And if you use 4.3 standard for your blank slide, not 16.9 widescreen, 4.3 standard, all you do then is you drag your image onto the blank canvas, the slide, and it pulls it to suit the actual size of the slide, right? Then what you do is you drag your logo on and you drop that onto your slide. So you've got your image and you've got your logo. Then all you do is you drag your logo to one corner, resize your logo with the corners. Then what you do is you screenshot it, you screen grab it.
Yes.
So on a Mac, and on a Mac, it's Command 4, and that brings up a little tool what allows you to screenshot it.
Yes.
On Windows, I think it's something called Windows Snippet or something. But when you screenshot that 4.3 slide, it's the perfect size to share on social media. Doesn't need resizing. It's bang on. And because you're screenshotting it off a laptop, it's a high-res image. Boom.
Yes.
Check that one out.
Yes.
I know that was a bit of a long-winded way of doing it, but it's a lot easier than Canva. All you need is PowerPoint, and you can drop anything onto them.
Yes. Well, I've done, I've posted a couple of images this last week that I've got, like, what's personal branding photography? How do you translate images? They were from PowerPoint. That was something that I've actually learned that this week. So I'm talking. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's brilliant idea. Really good idea.
Yeah.
Because you can't actually share those PowerPoint slides otherwise. If you're creating this amazing PowerPoint slides, you can't.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to cut to another question. So on the back of Dawn's question, which was about not letting our competitors steal our images, who owns the professional photographs? Sorry.
It's okay. No, go on. You were going to say something. Go on.
No, I presume what Harry means there is, do you own them as the client, or are they owned by the photographer? I think that's what she means.
Yeah. So the photographer always owns the copyright of the images.
Yeah.
That just always.
Yeah.
But it's worth finding out about the wording of the terms and conditions of your photographer. The way that I do it is I always own the images and the rights of the image, but I give the usage rights to the person who's paid me, and they're generally, I give them to them indefinitely. So it means that the people that I give the images to are then able to use their images in whatever way they want for as long as they want.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so Tanya, what, you know, we're not here to sell, you know, at all, but you know, you've given up your time to come on here tonight. So what services do you actually offer? So you're a personal branding photographer, but what does that mean? What services can you offer?
So I do headshots. So I have this year has been brilliant in the sense that I've started doing headshot days once a month. And
days, right?
Yeah, a day a month. Yeah, and so I've got one coming up end of March, which is fully booked in Gossip here. I've got one in April, which is happening at the BBIC in Barnsley. There are a few slots left for that. And yeah, so I do headshot days. The personal branding photography as a shoot often will involve various things. So it might be that between us, we decide that I'm going to do some headshots in my studio here, or I bring my studio to them in their office or wherever. It might be that we together capture images of them in action. So it could be they do workshops or they do training, so I capture them in action, or it could be that they build things or they do things and I capture that as well. So I'm also a wedding photographer, but that's not necessarily something that I'm really marketing at the moment. But because I'm wanting to niche into personal branding photography and be the best at that, rather than be doing everything like that. So so, you know, if you're a business owner and, you know, you're serious about, you know, taking your marketing to the next level, really up for talking to you. And it might be that you just start with a headshot. You know, it's, you know, we work out a way that you can afford to get something over years. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of ways of doing it, you know, and very flexible.
I mean, for me, what I would urge anybody that's watching this video, I mean, everybody knows how honest I am and upfront I am, and everybody knows that I lead by example. Look at the look at my branding. Look at Craig, not the EBA. Look at me, Craig Wilkinson, the brand, and you'll see that I wear a blue suit with a white shirt on most of my branding. In fact, if you scroll to the top of this Facebook page now, you'll see that image of me. That image has also been used on our website. It's also been used on all our other social media channels. It's also been used on our podcast. So what I would urge people to do is, you know, don't neglect the fact that you need this personal branding more than ever nowadays. People are buying into you and you have to get professional shots. And I'm guessing, Tanya, I mean, I don't know how much you charge and I'm not going to ask you, but I'm guessing that it's probably more cost effective than what people might think.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Headshots. Really happy to tell you they're £50, and, you know, they're an affordable way, you know, but also, you know, I charge a chunky amount for a day's shoot, but you might not need a day's shoot. I might be able to do what you need for in an hour. Yeah. So in some ways, I think it's much more flexible than people might think.
Yeah.
You don't know unless you ask, I guess, you know.
Yeah. And also, from my experience, what I would also say to people that might be contemplating this is, you know, what we said earlier about cutting the images of you out of that background and using them elsewhere. So I'm still using images in my brand that I had took 2 and 3 years ago. Those images have paid for themselves 10 times over because I'm still using them 3 years later. All right, I've got a few more wrinkles now, but I'm still using those images. So what would you say to someone who's thinking about upping their game, not being the average business owner like the rest of their competitors are? What would you say to someone that might be contemplating on having some personal branding photography done? What would you say is the next point that they need to do?
I think it's to have a conversation with someone about, you know, what's it going to look like? How much is it going to cost me? How much time is it going to take? I mean, I have a PDF that I send out to people before they have any photographs with me, which is all about how do you prepare for your shoot. So it could be like, for example, that, someone wants to go away for a couple of months because they do want to get the logo T-shirts. They do want to, there might be things that they actually want to prepare ahead and buy. And I'm just totally up for, having lots of conversations with people that might want to be looking at, well, they might start doing it themselves, or I don't know. If I can help any of you think about, how can you take your photography to the next level? I'm not the only photographer. There's other photographers. It might be that I'm not the right one for you. You might choose someone else, but totally up for having a chat just to sort of brainstorm ideas, if that's helpful.
Brilliant. Okay. And I've just seen that John Partridge has just put, I'm interested in this, Tanya. So there are a number of people that are interested in probably having a conversation with you, Tanya, over the next day or so. So what's the best way then being able to contact you?
Well, I mean, obviously here we are, we're on Facebook. So become my friend on Facebook. You can Facebook message me. That's really quick. And I know that I've given, Craig's got my telephone number as well. So, totally up for having a conversation with any of you on the phone. I like connecting with people. For me, I'm more passionate about people than I am photography, because I just find people interesting. Why do you do what you do? So, really up for meeting people, having one-to-ones with people or one-to-many. If someone wants to create a big one-to-many and you've got a nice office and I can come along and we can get a load of people, we can all have a big brainstorm about photography, let's do it. If I can help people. Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay. I'm just going to stress one more time about the power of, and I'm not trying to sell this to anybody, Tanya. I'm just passionate about personal branding, in the fact that if you want to look better than your competitors, people are going to check you out on Facebook. They're going to check you out on social media. They're going to check your website out. Now, if you've got tacky iPhone images that you're using on there to represent you, your team, the jobs, the contracts, the customers, the clients, and these crappy images are exactly the same as all the other competitors, and you're all robbing each other's images or buying stock images from stock photography places, you're not setting yourself apart from your competitors. You're not unique in what you do. So again, what I'd urge people to do is, number one, think about their personal branding on how you can make yourself look better than everybody else. But number two, when you start to look more professional, when your business starts looking more professional, you can afford to charge more than your competitors. So what, people said to me, it's okay, Craig, but investing into videos and photography and podcasts and all this type of stuff to raise your brand, there's an investment in it. And I say, yeah, but how many jobs, contracts, customers and clients would you need for that branding to pay for itself?
Yes.
And most people, it's not a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's something about, I don't know, straight back at all of you, what do you charge a day? What is your day rate? So it's like, why not, spend what you would charge, a day rate on some, investing it in your business. I mean, it's, the great thing about members of the EBA, which I've sort of said a little bit on your Facebook page, we are a tribe. We're all serious about what we're doing. We've spent, over £1,000 just to be members, and there's obviously all the people in the Facebook group, and not negating you guys at all, but there's something about, we're all serious. So it's like, there is a reality that actually, how do you discern where you spend your money on your business? Because as you know, Craig, and what you talk about, we can all be really frustrated about marketing and spend on marketing But images of yourself, it's kind of like, it's not really, there's no gimmick there at all. It's really important. You know, who are you? Shout, you know, if you are passionate and you love what you do, then why not shout about it and show people who you are? You know, something about being, you know, I love what I do. I love people. I want people to see me, you know, and I think it's important to be approachable and to show people who you are. Don't hide behind a brand or a logo or, you know, or stock images, because you'll just look like you're hiding.
Yeah,
that's what I, you know, I know I'm obviously going to be biased, but when I see stock images, I just kind of go, okay, who are they? What are they hiding? Why are they hiding?
Yeah. Do you know what? Something's just come to me. I don't even know why I'm thinking of this, but in fact, I'll tell you why I'm thinking of it, because my wife's just joined Facebook Live. Sarah's just joined, right?
Hello.
So what I am staggered about, let's say that you're going out on a date. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to come out with it anyway. Let's say that you decide that you're going out on a date. You're single, you're going out on a date, right? What you do, I'm guessing, is you go out and you buy a load of new clobber. You buy some new clothes, you'd look the business. You're good at hairdressers for the ladies. You'd have your nails done. You'd have your eyebrows done. Gentlemen, you'd have your shave. You groom yourself, right? For a first date. The way I look at this is, why aren't we having a date every day with our customers and clients? So they're not as important, if not more important, than going out on a flipping date with somebody. Yes, they are. Yes. But too many of us don't look the business. We don't buy the right, you know, look at what I was talking about on Friday at Sheffield Academy and Leeds the week before, about what you wear and how you are perceived. First impressions count. Whether they are the right impressions or wrong, they count based on how you look and how you appear. Well, if you're going to look the dogs, if you're going to look the best and better than all your competitors, you've got more chance of winning that business. So don't just invest into your personal brand date-wise. Let's get a date every day with the most profitable customers and clients we can get and win more business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's that first impression, as you say. It doesn't take very long to turn people on or turn them off. And I'm obviously not talking about a date now, because that's obviously going into a different arena. But yeah, you're right. It's having respect for yourself as well. It's like, you know, I've worked my ass off. I've been doing what I do for so long, and you know, if I just look like I don't care, then, you know, what does that say about what I think about myself? You know, it's really loving yourself and respecting yourself. And for me, it's about telling the story of your passion through your images, you know, so that people look at the image and they go, God, yeah, she looks like she's enjoying herself. She looks like she's a nice person. She looks like she cares, you know. Yeah. And like you say, you know, what you wear is really important. Because you wouldn't turn up to a first date wearing your pajamas, would you?
No, absolutely. Well, so I know that there's going to be people watching this back on replay. So if you are watching this back on replay, I know you're not now, but if you do, could you just pop in the comments, #replay, just so we can monitor how many people are watching this back. So one last time then, Tanya, as we start to wrap, how can people get hold of you? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring your mobile number across the page. What do you want them to do? Do you want people to contact you by direct message on Facebook, or pop a comment in the comments on this Facebook Live if they want more advice from you? So
I guess there are a few things. So, you know, the speed of Facebook and the posts and things like that, I think it's probably going to be good to, if people want to really talk to me directly, then yes, become friends with me on Facebook, message me on Facebook, and let's take it off Facebook, because, you know, I think I don't want anything to get lost in translation, if you not understand. So really up for having a telephone conversation. And I noticed there's a few people on the comments that I've mentioned about, oh yeah, they'd really like to have a one-to-many. So, if you're in the sort of the South Yorkshire region around Leeds or Sheffield or around there, then, over the next sort of couple of months, let's see if we can get together and, talk about this in more detail.
Yeah. I like the headshot days as well. What you've just suggested, having a headshot day. I think that's great. Great idea.
Yes. So one thing I'm wanting to find is someone in Leeds who's got a location, whether it's a business centre or an office, I could come and, have another headshot day, maybe in a couple of months. That would be brilliant. And it could be an opportunity for other new, people to meet you and to meet your business and have one-to-manys with you as well. So I want it to be of benefit to you, not just about, benefit to me to get business, but, if that would
Wonderful.
be of use, then yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Tanya, I'm going to throw us in at deep end now, because what I'm going to ask people to do is I'm going to say thank you for joining us, everybody, this evening. What I'm going to ask people to do is I'd like you to just rate this Facebook Live. It's not scripted. Me and Tanya's not sort of like planted any questions. Most of these questions this evening have been your own. But, on a scale of 1 to 10, number 1, what's the content been like that between me and Tanya? Also on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the interaction on this Facebook Live been like for you? Cutting between different shots and ticker tapes and names popping up and things popping up like this. Great videos, guys. Good insight and good pointers. So things like that. So if you can give us a rate or a score on out of 10 on how you found this Facebook Live, the value and the interaction on it, we'd really, really appreciate it. If you want to watch more videos like this, more Facebook Live videos, and more videos where myself and other members are giving away their knowledge away for free, I'd encourage you to head over to our website, which is popping up on the screen now, elitebusinessacademy.co.uk. What I'd also ask you to do before you all shoot is, if you feel as though other people would benefit from watching this Facebook Live back, please hit the share button and share it right now. And finally, if you want to tag somebody in that you might find that they might find beneficial for being on watching this Facebook Live, please tag them into the comments below. And if Tanya can help them just by what she shared this evening, that's absolutely spot on. So, Tanya, last question. Tell us why personal branding photography is so important right now. In a sentence. That's putting you on the spot. I know it is. Why should people invest into personal branding? I know the value of it. I understand it. One last question. Why should people have personal branding photography?
Well, if you're passionate about who you are and what you do, and you want more business, or you want to get those dream clients, then it's the only way forward. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for giving it. We've been on for, what's that, 60, 70, 80, an hour and 10 minutes we've been on. I can't believe our time flies.
I hope no one's asleep.
Have you enjoyed it?
I've loved it. And I want to say a really big thank you. I know that I won the competition, but it's just, well done, Craig, for all that you do, and, how open you are to supporting us all individually. Your Facebook group is fantastic, and we're just all very lucky to have you be with us in the way that you are. So I'm so glad that you have such a healthy mind and body, so that you can just carry on, being our I was going to say leader. I guess you are in some ways. You do lead us in how we do business in the best way that we can. So thank you for inviting me onto this. And I just feel privileged. So thank you.
Anything to do with marketing, branding, videos, all like that. I love the subject. Anything that we can do to help each other enhance our brands, whether it be personal or business brand, I think it's invaluable to people. So thank you, Tanya, once again for joining us. Thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in. We've maintained a healthy, very healthy number of people. We've had loads of comments. I mean, I don't know how many we've had in total, but I'm guessing we've probably had about 80, 90, maybe more comments than that. So thank you so much. If you're watching it back on replay, #replay, and what Tanya will do over the course of this evening stroke tomorrow is she will come back and answer your questions specifically in the comments if we've not got round to answering them tonight. So thank you once again, Tanya, for joining us. Thank you to all our wonderful members, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Bye, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Cheers, Tanya.